At Kelly Partners, we wanted to come up with something special that could influence the next generation of young people that want to make a difference through business. We work with the parents and grandparents who've built amazing businesses, and we know the difference that they make. So when I visited Israel, saw the innovation, I was like, we have to do something special for young people. So how this worked was we went out by email to all of the clients, 20,000 clients of Kelly Partners, and said, if you are a grandparent or a parent of a child that's age 15 or 16 that has an interest in joining our social impact entrepreneurship program, then send us an email and apply. They applied to attend the Founders Program at the University of New South Wales that had been adapted for 16-year-olds, 4-day program. They had to submit a business case, get selected, turn up, do 4 days, and then present to a leading panel of business people, where we ultimately selected 12 people.
The idea of a Founders Scholarship, the idea of moving people from Australia and learning about Israel and other places excites me greatly. And indeed, when I heard about the Kelly scholarships, I kept wondering, where was Kelly when I was a kid?
It's a wonderful initiative. They do an incredible amount of work, these kids. Some of the projects they come up with are inspirational, they're diverse, they're good for mankind. These aren't just flighty projects. These are real projects solving real problems, and potentially with the way that they're solving them, are a pathway to have significant outcomes.
And then after being selected, 24 hours on a plane, and bam, you're in Israel. Dawn till dusk, 7 days, life-changing experience.
This Scholars Program changes hearts and minds by people-to-people interactions, and by getting particularly non-Jews to travel to Israel and to see with their own eyes the sorts of challenges the state faces and the sorts of achievements they've been able to make. And I think the more people that can travel to Israel to get a first-hand understanding of its geopolitical situation, the better Israel's prospects will be in the wider world.
Yeah, so why Israel? Israel has more listed companies on NASDAQ than any other country in the world other than the US. It's got a track record of innovation, of growing a country with no natural resources in an unbelievable way, and it's got many of the lessons that all of us need in terms of self-reliance and sticking up for yourself and making a difference that can make a difference to all of us. And so by bringing young people out of their comfort zones to a place that's different, where they can see deep history as well as incredible future innovation, the contrast of those two things you can't find anywhere else. And that's what the program's all about.
The idea that one place can marry the ideas between the biblical Holy Land and the future together. Those two ideas are the least two concepts you can expect to go together, and Israel has managed to done it quite effectively.
Classic Crusader.
It never failed to amaze me when I was the ambassador to Israel, how much people's perspectives of the country, the people, the conflict, the history of the place changed even in just a short space of time there. And what Brett's doing is bringing people at a young and formidable age, one where they're quite open to new ideas and new thinking, and allowing them to experience something that they've probably never experienced before in their life, and they may well never experience such a thing in their life but for the Kelly Partners Scholars Program.
Well, welcome to Jerusalem here in Israel. My name's Brett Kelly, the founder and CEO of Kelly Partners. So for each of you that are here, I can't wait. You're going to have an amazing time. We hope in the program that there's something that will really spark within you a drive and an interest in who you are and who you really want to be and what you want to do with your life. And so it's just an extraordinary thing to be able to have you all here. And I look forward to a really great week. This is living history here, right here in Jerusalem. You've got, really the big ideas of all of the civilizations in the West that I guess we revere. The big ideas come from here. You're walking on the same stone streets that significant figures in history have walked on. This is not Disneyland. This is reality of where those big ideas came from. And there really is no place like that in the world. what we decided to do 6 years ago was just bring them here to Israel to study social impact entrepreneurship. It's not enough to tell people how their life can be different. It's much better to show them. So bring them to a place where they can see history living and new frontiers of science and technology making our world better.
So walking through the streets in the old city of Jerusalem, it was very touching to see all the families and the markets, and the atmosphere was really incredible because it showed the inside of Israeli culture, the culture that you don't see on TV.
Jerusalem is this extraordinarily special place of thousands of years of history. It's a place, it's like the meeting point for world civilization. Pretty much anyone who's been anyone in the history of the world has come through Jerusalem at some point and had a presence, whether it was the Romans or the Greeks or the Crusaders or the Ottomans. So many empires have come through Jerusalem. And you feel that when you visit the layers of history. You also feel how it's such an important place as a center of three great religions, of Judaism, of Christianity, of Islam.
So I'm Muslim myself and I'm not Christian, and so even being a Muslim, I was amazed with the historical factors and like how like intact everyone is and like how close they are to their religion, and it was really beautiful to see.
Wisdom is deep understanding, and it can make a huge difference in people's lives. And what better place to try and find some in a world that sorely needs it.
When I come to a classroom in Macedonia and I ask who has an idea for startups, not a single hand. I come to a classroom in Israel and I ask who has an idea for startups. Everybody has an idea for an application, for a mobile. This is a cultural thing, and this is something that I would love for you to experience around here.
And to this day, there are still military journeys up here to Masada. A lot of people take their vow of allegiance to Israel right here on top of this mountain. And then there's a very, very well-known saying in Hebrew, which is Masada lo tipol b'shanit, or Masada shall not fall again. And I swear to you guys, as long as I live and breathe, Masada shall not fall again. We're standing in the British War Cemetery on top of Mount Scopus. And a lot of people don't realize that the story of Australia and to an extent New Zealand and the Commonwealth combines so eloquently with that of Israel.
I think I learned more about history in Israel than I did at school for the last few years. Me wanting to be a part of the army, it kind of makes me feel more proud. Australia did this, right?
I would not be here, a proud Israeli, if not for you guys. Because the sacrifices that the people around this place made is what eventually allowed Israel to exist.
This has been a contested part of the world for a long time, and I suspect it will be for a while longer. But to show people that there are purposes and there are ideas beyond themselves that are worth committing to is exemplified in that battle, and I think always strikes every young Australian that we bring here.
Going to the Anzac Memorial and seeing the parts of the Holocaust Memorial really deepened my knowledge of Australia's connections with Israel.
I think it very much showed me that the core of the city is the people, that it's not about the buildings, which are so beautiful. It's not about the architecture or what separates it from the rest of the world in terms of appearance. It's about the story of the people and about what has happened to them and about the story of hope and of freedom in Israel.
Understanding deeply history to innovate new and better solutions to what have always been universal problems, that's what we hope young people will see here.
Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, I always say it's like they're two different countries. They couldn't be more different. When you travel to Tel Aviv an hour away, you come to a much more modern city with high-rises, like New York on the Mediterranean. It's so energetic and buzzy, and it's really the startup capital of Israel and one of the startup capitals of the world too.
The program that we developed our program from was a program developed for chairmen of Australian publicly listed companies, which we edited but didn't dumb down. It is a full-on, flat-out development program.
So we're a group of students from New South Wales, Australia, part of the Kelly and Partners program. And we're on the scholarship program, and we're here to learn about the business and the booming business economy in Israel, and to just learn from the great entrepreneurs here.
What they're really going to see is that if you have a big idea that can make a genuine difference to the world, and you know how to put that idea together and bring a team together to get support, they're going to understand the structuring of how to commercialize that and really how to take their big idea and turn it into a business and really make a difference.
It's a risky business. It's venture capital. They are expecting huge returns for their money because, you know, in venture capital you may get nothing back. But not less, they expect us to make this world a better place. And this is what Israel is very much about.
AI is such a foreign but really relevant concept because it's becoming our future.
On generative AI, which is a state-of-the-art AI system. So we are using AI to protect against attacks on AI.
And to see how they've been able to adapt that, to utilize it to its benefits, but also in the case of a few companies actually protecting against the abuse of AI, it's really, really interesting to see the dichotomy that arises between both the power and the abuse of AI and how you can use it to its benefit. So it's really interesting to see that, in my opinion.
From the 10,000 startups in Israel, the extraordinary array across so many different sectors, we pick some of the best for the students to go and visit, which gives them such insight that normally we're taking the most senior people from the business and government and academic communities of Australia to see. And it's extraordinary, these students who are in their final stages of high school are having the same opportunities.
Tomgo is a different company. We actually changed the perception that what we can do with soil. We take soil and totally transform it to something that is alien-like form, actually.
The innovation culture here, where there was no natural resources, and this country's been secured and grown really from ashes in a desert, is just unbelievable.
This is what the plants is growing. No other media rather than the gel itself. The gel contains 99% water, and we succeed with this formula to have an interval of irrigations in about 6 to 5 months to this kind of plants.
So one of the greatest things that I saw in Israel because of my wife and my daughter's heart conditions was Save a Child's Heart.
Congenital heart defects are an absolute tragedy for children and for many countries where these children don't have that access to care. We bring the children to Israel. A child receives everything they need here. They get here, we pay for everything, their flights, their accommodation, an accompanying parent. They come to our children's home, they receive first-class care in this hospital by Israeli physicians, but not only that, by physicians from their own countries.
They take young doctors out of Ethiopia or North Africa, they bring them here and they bring the nurses, and over multiple years they train the doctors and the nurses. They raise money to build the right facilities and get the equipment, and they transport that whole cardiac unit back into those countries so that there is cardiac care in those countries that there never has been there and otherwise never would be there.
Everyone deserves a chance, and the fact that these young children are getting a second chance in life is really quite amazing.
We had an Uzbeki child from Uzbekistan here, children from Iraq, from Syria, Afghanistan, countries that we don't even have diplomatic ties with. It's a very intricate matter, but we do it because we're a humanitarian organization. This is what Israel is about. Despite what you might have heard in the media, yes, there's a lot of challenges, but the real humane face of Israel is helping.
I want to create a business, but I want it to be centered around people and improving the world. I don't want to do it just for the money. I want it to change the world. And I think seeing these different businesses, it shows me how that I can live my life to do both. I don't have to pick one. I can do both.
You know, for young people to see that you can use the structures and ideas and thinking of business to make such a positive social impact, they never walk away not really struck by that.
Now that you've seen the amazing program, the mission is clear. We need to raise $10 million to be able to send 100 young leaders a year for the next 100 years to Israel to undertake our amazing social impact entrepreneurship program. They'll be selected by the leading universities in the world. We're putting in the first $5 million, we need to raise the next 5, and we hope you can help us. We know that this will make the world much better off.
Look, you want to help people in all ages, but when you're helping younger people, you've got a much longer chance for them to be successful and to make a difference over a longer period of time. So it gives them the confidence and now the opportunity to strive for great things for themselves and then for the community.
Well, I think Brett has a track record of success and achievement in this area. I mean, look, his business life, he did what people thought would not be possible. He was audacious in how he's built his business. He didn't take no for an answer. And he brings the same sort of drive and enthusiasm and resolve to the Scholars Program. I think you've already seen with the cohorts that have been to Israel how much that has changed their impression of the country, how it's opened their eyes to a whole lot of new realities. And I think scaling this program, which is really what Brett's trying to do now, is only going to scale the results. I think Brett's shown what the program can deliver, and with more support we can deliver so much more.
I'm very careful with what I endorse, but I feel that the concept of taking young minds over to Israel, whether it be for the culture there, whether it be to understand and question what's going on politically there, or whether it be on the business side to look at startups and how people really run their businesses and test the technologies and so on. Doesn't matter the reason, but I believe it is a question and part of broadness, and I believe strongly in broadening the mind, and that's why I hope that people will get behind Brett in putting this together and making it bigger.